Perhaps in this connection you would comment for us on the press in general as you see it from the presidency. Perhaps it's treatment of your administration, treatment of the issues of the day.
I'm reading more and enjoying it less, and I don't plan to issue any general statement of the press. I think that they are doing their task as a critical branch, fourth estate, and I'm attempting to do mine, and going to live together for a period and then go our separate ways.
John F. Kennedy joking with the press after he'd been taking some ribbing for canceling the 22 subscriptions to the New York Herald Tribune that came to the White House each morning. He was not happy with the way they were covering Democratic and Republican scandals. He thought that the Republican scandals weren't getting enough attention, so he canceled the subscriptions. Let me bring in George Will, Laura Ingram, Al Hunt, John Podesta, and Cynthia Tucker. Now, the president did cancel the subscriptions, George, but then he kind of blew it off. Is it time now, as President Obama faces down Fox News, for a JFK moment?
I think so. Look, no president in the history of this republic has less reason to complain about his treatment in the press than Barack Obama. Liberals have academia, they have the mainstream media, they have Hollywood. They're all for diversity and everything but thought. And out here is this one channel, Fox, and they're all up in arms because, in the words of Ms. Dunn of the White House, it is opinion journalism masquerading as news, which some of us would say describes the New York Times and certainly MSNBC.
Well, we've had a proud history of partisan journalism in America for a couple of hundred years, but I think Fox takes it a little bit to a different level. I think Bill Shine, the vice president for news at Fox, came out and said, "We are the opposition." You know, that, I think, can you imagine David Wesson going out and saying something like that, or anybody really in a mainstream news organization? They're organizing, and I think it seems to me they were overcome with that feeling of joy you get from telling the truth once in a while, and probably they may actually even regret going as far as they have.
Can I speak as the Fox representative on this show? By the way, you're all going to be banned from any future White House events for having me at this table. Bill Shine said that, and I know him well. He said that because he believes that of all the networks, Fox was going to hold the administration the most accountable. And the last time I checked, I thought that was the role of the press. I think, and again, I might not be invited back, George, but when Charlie Gibson didn't know what the Acorn story was all about, that was a collective gasp you heard across the United States. Charlie Gibson is an esteemed journalist. How do you not know about a story about a group where President Obama cut his political teeth that had been exposed to the extent that Democrats and Republicans on Capitol Hill were ready to pull the rug out from under them in their funding? That's the kind of story that the White House doesn't want to have reported and repeated on other networks. That's why they don't like Fox News.
Well, you know, Charlie's had an amazing career. Let's set aside that moment. I do think one of the things the White House is trying to get at is something you're talking about, though, Alan. It seems like they're trying to actually influence the ref a little bit here. One of the reasons they're going after Fox News is because they don't want people to be, or the other news organizations, to automatically assume because something is being pushed on Fox that it is automatically a legitimate news story, and they want everyone to think twice.
They are going after the ref, but that's what all politicians do. I mean, I must say I'm amused that Karl Rove is shocked, just shocked, that they would go after the press. I mean, that's a scene out of Casablanca, really. But on the other hand, I do agree with George. I wouldn't want to get into an alley fight with Roger Ailes. He's pretty good at that, and I'm not quite sure why this White House does. If I were advising them, and I'm not, I'd tell them to call timeout.
Well, I have to agree with Al on that. The scandal for the Obama administration is not that they're trying to manipulate the news media, but that they seem to be so clumsy at it. Every administration tries to manipulate the news media.
They've gotten pretty good press, though.
Oh, they've gotten pretty good press. Clearly, they are annoyed with Fox, particularly, as Laura said, over some stories that have gone into the broader media. But the Bush administration, for heaven's sakes, gave taxpayer money to conservative columnists like Maggie Gallagher to highlight, to speak favorably of Bush administration proposals. So if you want to manipulate the news media, that's the way to do it.
The point here is that it looks desperate, it looks defensive, and it's a no-win situation for the administration. I can tell you who's smiling. Roger, Bill Shine, and all the rest of us who work for Fox. As our ratings are going up, as this bunker mentality is set in at the White House, I think they must think it's good for them, though. I don't know why they would do it if they didn't think it helped them with the left in the United States who are frustrated about Afghanistan.
I think that's probably part of it. I think it probably does make the liberals feel a little bit better. At least that one fight is being taken on. But George, my guess is that before the end of the year, the White House will try to find a way, maybe not to sign a peace treaty with Fox News, but I think you would probably imagine you'll see President Obama back on Bill O'Reilly. I think the other thing they're trying to do is to draw a line between the opinion side of Fox News and the news side. And actually, in some ways, they have less trouble with the pure opinion because they say we can take that on its own terms and not treat them as news. Sure, but they also have to break the habit of trying to silence people who are not in journalism. The Chamber of Commerce, they are trying to delegitimize. The Humana, the health provider that sent a message to its clients that the White House didn't like, and the White House then denounced it. The Chrysler bondholders were told to comply with this fake and fraudulent bankruptcy that they put Chrysler through, or else. It wasn't clear what else, but the threat was clear. There's a kind of bullying aspect to this that is just unseemly.
Well, look, I think you take the example of the Chamber. The Chamber has opposed the administration on energy, on health care, etc. They're going to push back. I don't see how whatever the White House has done is trying to silence the Chamber. They're in a fight with them about the policy direction of the country. I noticed was just announced that Rahm Emanuel is going to go speak to the Chamber. I'm sure he's going to give them a piece of his mind when he goes and does it. But that's the normal give and take in Washington, and I don't think that the administration's been excessive in any way about
I think a lot of people say
those
if the administration had the same view of the way they treat other threats to the United States, whether economic threats or real threats, Islamic jihadists, and don't probably put Fox in that same category, then it would be okay. I mean, they're so impassioned about Fox. Meanwhile, it's kind of like very even rhetoric about other threats.
Softer on Islamic jihadists.
Well, I just think honestly, the passion when you send out Emanuel and Axelrod and the president comments on it. I haven't seen them talk about other real threats in the same coordinated and sophisticated way as they're going after Fox.
When drones start flying over Fox News.
Yeah, I mean, honestly.
It's interesting, though, to hear this Nixonian meme develop when just a couple of weeks ago the president was being denounced as weak, effete, not even as strong as the French president.
I'm old enough to remember enemies list meant you were wiretapping people and you were pulling their tax returns. That's the kind of stuff that scares me. I mean, I don't know. I think not.